See, we knew very little about what was going on until the very end with Mother, because they didn't talk about it. I was one of the first 500 people invited to the inner retreat because I contributed money. I was in Montana at the time.
What year was that?
That was 84. I was there and I was watching TV. I was playing in lounges. I was watching TV before time to go down to the lounge and work. And who should come on the television, local news, but Mother. I said, oh my God, what's Mother doing on local Bozeman news? Well, she announced that they had just bought the inner retreat. The whole organization didn't know that. I was 50 miles away. I had been circling the whole area for 2 years. I had played every town going around that area. West Yellowstone, Cody, Bozeman, Billings, every town that had any kind of entertainment I was playing in. And then I realized, oh, that's what you're doing out here. I thought I was in outer darkness. I was actually circling the core. I didn't have any idea. I mean, I knew the Tetons were the main focus, but I had no idea we were going to move there. Because nothing was being said publicly. And I was out on the road, so I didn't know. But the gist of it is that I went immediately down and had Thanksgiving dinner when there were only 20 of us there at the retreat. They just bought it. So I said, there was an appeal. We need money, of course. I gave him a gold coin. It was worth about $500 at the time. I gave him a gold coin. I said, here, this is my contribution. And because of that, I got a button that still commemorates it. I was one of the first 500 to be invited to the inner retreat. And that was all part of my job. And I didn't, like I said, I did it for 2-3 years without knowing what was going on. And when I was released, she told me, now go teach. Well, who? What? No more. No more information. It took me 9 years to find anyone that was interested. I thought, wow, I'll go out and teach. Yeah, right. Was anybody interested in the Ascended Masters? Not a soul. I didn't run into anybody for 9 years. It was my test as well. But there weren't any people around. Then there were just very few people who knew and very few people who were interested. And of course everything changed. But the reason I bring that up is that we didn't know what was going on with Mother. I was at the last conference in San Diego that she taught at and did live dictation. It was the last time. I went from there. I had my trailer with me, my RV trailer. I went from there to Sedona. This was in July of 97. I took that energy from the July conference, 4th of July conference. I was here on the 14th. I was told, you need to be in Sedona now. Okay, so I'll go after the conference. And we had no idea. Mother was teaching from behind a bulletproof shield.
And
she was having a lot of trouble speaking or getting ready. Nobody knew. I mean, I didn't know. I wasn't on the inner White Flower Core. But she had Alzheimer's and nobody was saying anything yet. So literally, I saw her at the next conference and she wasn't teaching. She didn't hardly say 2 words. And, she blessed some oil, which I have, and she blessed a Buddhist scarf, which I have. And that was really the last hurrah for Mother, as I knew, publicly. So she was no longer able to teach. And everybody said, well, she's the Great White Brotherhood's messenger. Why is she all of a sudden being taken out? Does that mean she's not really powerful? She isn't any good? I said, well, some people will think that, I'm sure. I said, to me, I got different information. I said, she's being taken out of the field of activity so that we become the teachings. It's like Jesus when he ascended.
Yeah.
If he hadn't ascended,
Yeah.
his students would have still been students. It was time for them to be teachers.
That's right.
This is the problem, is that we're all reliant on Mother. I mean, you couldn't hardly go to the bathroom without asking
Oh,
permission
boy, I know it.
on
She-
staff. It was
She was
tense.
the queen, yeah.
She ran things, and
Yeah.
I never blamed her for that. Some
Very
people did, but
strict, yes.
I said, okay, I understand. And I didn't like it, but I understood it. So I said, well, this is okay. And after that, I realized that it was because we were supposed to take responsibility for teaching and being the teachings. And then we weren't supposed to rely on Mother to do that for us
Do you
anymore.
think she's still alive?
I think she is, yeah.
The last
Oh, we'll
I-
know.
Last I heard, that she's bedridden, doesn't even know her dog, doesn't know anything.
No, she doesn't know her name.
She
doesn't
knows
know anything.
nothing right now.
I'm saying ultimately that she's
They don't even
done.
speak about her anymore.
She's done. Some people knew when Lotus, they felt it, when Lotus lost the dispensation, because she was not willing to allow the dispensation to happen. So Lotus was in a dangerous position. I'm not saying her dictations aren't wonderful. They are.
Oh, yes, certainly.
They're wonderful.
Because the masters were there.
But there's a point at which she no longer was able to deliver them, for whatever the reason. Geraldine Nascente passed, made her ascension. And then Mark was given the next dispensation. You know, I went through the whole thing with Summit. The building of underground retreats,
Yes.
the whole scene.
Yeah.
And I accepted it, but I never went to Montana to build an underground retreat. But when we were there one summer, and I don't remember which one it was, but I was there for the July retreat, Mother was on the podium and she said, well, as you probably already know, the BATF is here investigating us. They had the Waco incident, whenever that was,
Yeah.
and they're investigating everybody that looks like a cult.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, they created the Waco incident so they could
Yeah,
make bad
that's what I
publicity,
heard, yeah.
so they could use it to legislate away our freedoms. That's another whole story. And they did the same thing with 9/11.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
this was what she said. She said, tell them whatever they want to know. Tell them the truth. We are not here to talk, we're not here to dispel the government. We're not here to do anything of that sort. So, you know, whatever you tell them will be fine. So in other words, there wasn't any secret meeting saying, hey, the BATF is on campus trying to investigate us. Don't say this, don't say that. There was none of that.